Hi, in this demo I'll be showing the IBM Script Portlet for WebSphere Portal. This is a feature that lets web developers use applications built with just HTML, JavaScript, and CSS on WebSphere Portal without deploying any Java code. The web artifacts are all managed with Web Content Manager, and this gives you features such as project support and workflow approval for all of your applications and content. I'll show a couple different ways of creating applications with Script Portlet. First, I'll show how to build an application right from the browser using the Script Portlet editor, and then I'll show how you can develop and test what's often called a single-page application using any external tool and then import it into a Script Portlet. And I'll look at a couple of other aspects such as using REST JSON services and adding your applications from the Portal toolbar. Okay, here's my Portal 8.5 site, and I have a page here, an empty page where I want to create an application. So first I'll put the page into edit mode, and I'll click the create link to bring up the Portal toolbar. From there I'll select the applications and the web content category, and under there I'll find the Script Portlet and drag it onto my page. Okay, now I have an empty Script Portlet, and I'm going to click the Edit button to bring up the Script Portlet editor. So the Script Portlet editor has 4 panes. On the top left you have your HTML and head tabs. HTML is where you enter your main tags for the application, and head is where you can enter things like external references. On the top right is where you enter all your JavaScript code. On the bottom left is for CSS. And in the bottom right you have a preview pane where you can see the running application. So I'm going to start off really simple. I'll create a simple button, and this will call a JavaScript function called say hello. The text will be click here. Now, whenever I want to see what I have so far, I can click the File, Save menu. This will update the preview pane, and I can see what I have so far. So now I need a JavaScript function called say hello. So in the JavaScript pane, I'll type that in. And this is going to be really simple. It's just going to put a JavaScript alert that says hello. And again, I'll click File, Save. It updates the preview pane, and I can test it out right here. And now I'll close the Script Portlet editor and put the page back into view mode so you can see the final rendering, and I can try it out here. Click here and show the alert. Okay, so that was really simple. Now let's get a little more complex. And in this case, I'm not going to type all the code, but I'm going to copy from a website, from the JS Fiddle website. So again, I'll bring up the Script Portlet editor, and now I'll go over to the JS Fiddle site. And I have an application here that displays a customer list. So I'm going to copy the different parts of this into my Script Portlet. First, I'm going to take the external references that I have here, copy them, and paste them into the head input. Next, I'll take the rest of the HTML, copy that, and put it into the HTML input. First, I'm going to delete what I had already. I'll take the CSS, again, copy that, paste it into the CSS panel. And finally, the JavaScript code. I'll select all of it, copy it, and paste it into the JavaScript pane. Okay, so now I'll click File, Save, and I'll see the application running in the preview pane. And once again, I'll close the editor, put the page back into view mode so I can see the final rendering. And you can see the different features of the jQuery data tables library that's used for this application. Okay, now I'd like to show how you can take an application built outside of Portal in any tool and import it into a Script Portlet. I'm going to start with an application just like the one I copied from JS Fiddle. So I'll go to my file system, and here you can see I've got 3 files, an index.html, CSS, and JavaScript. I can work with them in any editor of my choice. So here's the HTML, JavaScript, and the CSS. And I can test this application right here just by opening this in my Chrome browser, and I can use the Chrome or Firefox or other browser debugging tools to debug my JavaScript. Now, to bring this application into Script Portlet, all I have to do is to create a zip file with all the contents of that folder. So I'll create a customer list zip file, and then I can import it into a Script Portlet. So this is another page where I want to put my new Script Portlet. So again, I'll create an empty Script Portlet by selecting it from the toolbar. In this case, I'll just click to add it to the page. And this time, instead of bringing up the Script Portlet editor, I'm going to click the Import button. This pops up a dialog where I can choose a zip file to import into Script Portlet. So I'm going to select the customer list zip file that I just created, click Import, and now it shows me all the files that were imported. And when I close the dialog, you'll see the portlet rendered on the page. And I can bring up the editor now if I want and view and edit the code that was imported. In this case, the JavaScript that was in that separate file was put into the head input here. And I can edit it if I want, make updates right here from the Script Portlet editor. Now, that was a fairly simple example with just one HTML, one JavaScript, and one CSS file. But you can import more complex applications that have multiple JavaScript, images, and other files. So let's look at an example. This is a sample application built with the AngularJS framework. It's a to-do application, and it uses a number of files. So it's got several JavaScript files, and it's got other files such as CSS and an image file. Just like in the other application, I can do my development and testing right here using any tool or browser. And to bring it into a Script Portlet, just like before, I'll take this folder and create a zip file. Let me just show you the zip file. We can see it's got 9 different files in it, including CSS, JavaScript, and one image. So now back in my Script Portlet, again I'll put the page into edit mode. I'll click the Import button again. This time I'll choose the AngularJS to-do file that I just created, import it. And now you can see all the files that were brought in, all the JavaScript files, and so forth. And when I close the dialog, again you'll see the application rendered on my page. To show you a little bit of what this application does, it lets me add to-do items, and I can mark them as complete and remove them from the list, and a few other things I can do here. Okay, now to access data in services in JavaScript-based applications such as these, you'll typically use REST services with JSON format data. These services might be external, in which case you'll typically use Portal's AJAX proxy to make them available, or they can come from the Portal server itself. So let's look at an example. Here I've got a couple of portlets. The one on the left was built with Web Experience Factory, and it lets me view my account information for a bank. And on the right I have a Script Portlet, and it's accessing data from services that are provided by Web Experience Factory. And it's displaying the chart of the account balances. So let's look a little bit at how that's built. Put the page into edit mode, and I'll bring up the Script Portlet editor. Here's the JavaScript for that chart. And the key part that you see here is there's a variable that has the URL for the REST service that gives me the JSON data for the account balances. And it's being invoked using this jQuery function. When the data is returned, it calls the display chart function, and that function will do a little bit of formatting of the data, and then in this case it calls the JQplot library to display the chart. So that's one example of how you can invoke a REST service, get back JSON data, and use it in your script application. Okay, now once you have some Script Portlet applications, one of the things you can do is you can enable your page editors and your business users to drag them onto a page from the toolbar. So let's look at an example of that. Again, here I have an empty page. I'll put the page into edit mode, click create, and this time instead of bringing up an empty Script Portlet, I'm going to select from the business applications category that I've created, and here I've got a few pre-built portlets. For example, I'm going to take the to-do list application that I had already built and click and add it to a page. So there you have the application already built, and you can just easily add it to any page. And finally, I just want to show a couple of the sample applications that are available for download. These samples illustrate some of the techniques you can use in Script Portlets. For example, this one's a very simple pair of portlets that show eventing. In this case, it's using the jQuery eventing features. Here we have a couple of portlets that use the shared render parameter feature of Portal. This is a feature that lets you share context across any portlets that you have, including portlets that are built with any tools such as Web Experience Factory or Rational Application Developer or Script Portlet. And just one more, this one shows how you can load any Web Content Manager content from your Script Portlet JavaScript. Okay, that was a little tour of the Script Portlet for WebSphere Portal. For more information and to download Script Portlet, you can go to the Digital Experience Developer site, and that's where you can also get some of the samples that I showed, and there are a lot of other resources there for working with the digital experience products. Okay, thanks for watching, and I hope this was useful.